Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Paul Tranny here with the one and only Shanti Sparrow. How are you doing, Shanti?
I'm great. It's great to be here again and spend some time with you and everybody in the Behance Forum.
Oh, good. Well, we're happy to have you, and we're actually happy to have you back.
Yes,
Is this your second time being a guest,
it's my
or your
third,
third?
but it's my first time taking a run at packaging. I've come on before and done a lot of editorial, which I also love.
Okay, nice. Okay, packaging is going to be fascinating, and
Yeah.
everybody's saying hello, hello, Anika and Steve and Julia. Say hello to Shanti. Give her a warm welcome.
Hi, that Julia is my mom. Hi, mom. She's in Australia, up very early to
Oh,
see me.
oh, that is just that's heartwarming. That's
We're cute,
adorable.
huh? We're
You guys are
ridiculous.
so cute. So yes, originally from Australia. Hopefully you talk about yourself. To set everybody else up, we have you for 2 days, which is awesome. We'll do some packaging design, but basically a lot of graphic design. Love your color palette that you end up picking. So hopefully we'll talk a lot about color.
Yeah,
And it should be good. So
absolutely.
I'm glad we have you for 2 days,
Yeah.
2 hours a day, 2 hours now, and then later on. So awesome. Well, welcome. I'll let you share a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'll do a very quick intro into me, just for background. And throughout this, if you have any questions, absolutely hit it up in the forum. So I'm Shanti Sparrow and I'm Australian, which we just covered. So I do graphic design, I do illustration, and I'm also the global director of teaching at Shillington School of Graphic Design, which is a big old title. But it is my third passion area where I love teaching, and this is why I'm here. So I'm going to give you the warning straight up that I'm going to turn into, teacher mode pretty soon. I love teaching things that are fairly simple, and I'm going to break things down. So if you're new to design or in the early days, this is totally for you. And if you're been around, it's always fun to look at somebody else's creative process. Now, the work itself that I do is often, I do a lot of events. I love events, so branding. As we were just talking about, I do a bunch of editorial, websites, more posters, food events, and packaging. So this is an example of some packaging I've done in the past. I love,
Beautiful.
thank
Again,
you.
I love all the colors as you scroll through.
Yeah,
Really into
hopefully
this
I'm
stuff.
not giving everybody seasickness by going too fast, but uh, these are the types of things I've done. Maybe I'll jump into this one really quickly, which is for Sweet Chops in Toronto, and it's a vegan, and they wanted to make it like delicious vegan, and so there's a lot of mouths and all of this sort of stuff. And then it comes into making a whole brand and packaging itself. So that's
Nice.
one example. I'll let the audience, if you want to come and have a look, go have a search through my work, and if you've got any questions, ask them. Then I'm also an illustrator. It's a very different style, so I've got sort of two sides of me, and I make all of these animal type things, very textured, very layered. I was lucky enough to partner with American Tourister to make some luggage, which was
It's
really fun.
really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a wild project to work on. Speaking of wild, I was able to make a sort of jungle exhibition that went around Shanghai and Asia, and it's now a traveling exhibition where all of the illustrations became life size and people were able to interact with them. So, exhibitions.
It's
And
really
the
cool.
last bit of context about me is just that I'm a children's book illustrator.
Stop it already. You're doing you're doing all the things. And I'm sure people have so many questions as well. I'll read
Yeah,
them off as they come through, but this is really cool.
absolutely. Yeah, and I'm so happy to talk about all of this. So, this was my first storybook that I ever got to do, Fantastic Friends. It's an epic adventure. Then I also do early learners like colors and shapes and activity things. So we've got coloring in books, sticker books, puzzles. I don't know what this one is, a game as well. So if you're into merchandising, illustrating, publishing, design, illustration, I am here to talk with you. All right, so I'll probably leave it at that for now, and then I'm going to jump into the brief.
Yeah, sounds great. And it sounds like Valder says great session on Max last year.
Oh, that's great. The
Loved
Schaefer
it.
review. I'm glad you were able to get something from it. It's a really, really helpful part of InDesign that they've brought out.
That's very cool. I want to welcome Claudia as well, Ukaman and Norris. Just saying hello.
Yeah.
And
hi.
Barbara from Nashville. So
Yeah.
Shanti, just so you know, like I noticed you do have an Australian accent. Are
Yes.
you in Australia? Like, where do you live now? Tell us a little bit about like
Oh,
your surroundings.
I'm a transplant. So, I mean, just to like give a background of my general world, born in New Zealand, grew up in Australia, and then about 4 years ago, a little bit longer, I moved to America and I live in New York.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Which is where you actually teach in
Yes.
New York City. That's where what is it called again? Gosh, I can't even remember now.
No, that's okay. It's Shillington.
Shillington. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Shillington.
It's a really fun, intensive school. And the way I'm going to teach is a little bit about how we teach there. So if that resonates with you, come see us.
And you get everybody gets three credits as well from Shillington today, just because.
Oh,
and then maybe 3 more tomorrow. Yeah, we'll just give you some credits.
My gosh.
Just, I mean, credit, just in a vague sense.
Yeah, I will give them credit and say thank you.
There you go. That's the credit you get today.
Yeah.
Just for watching.
We'll figure something out. Yeah. If you were here, we'll give you a little gift or a pencil or a book or something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is the brief. From the top, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how these days are going to be structured. I've had some requests after my last couple of streams where people have asked, can we see more of your process? Because I do a lot of pre-work before I come on to organize things for you guys. So I've been asked to delve deeper into my research, my ideation, color picking, all of that. So we're going to do that. So it's probably going to be like maybe half an hour, and I'm going to involve everybody in the forum really a lot to play with us and play some games. And then we'll jump into Illustrator after that. All right. So Meltdown Moments, this is a sort of sneak peek of where we're going to end up. So using simple techniques in Illustrator and Photoshop to create a concept ice cream package. It's going to be a series. And our one is going to be based on life's little meltdown moments. Okay, so it's silly, it's having fun. I want you guys to have a playful sense when you're approaching this. We're going to make a 16-ounce, 14-ounce carton, 3 flavors of that, an ice cream cone wrap. So by that I mean when you're holding a cone so that the ice cream doesn't melt on your fingers, and a single serve tub.
Nice.
We're going to have some key learning moments, as every teacher loves. There is research into ice cream packaging and identifying elements that need to go on that packaging. We're going to look at theming and ideation of product names. That I'm going to need your help for that. Visualizing emotions. Maybe I'll need some help for that. Mm-hmm. And then we'll jump into Illustrator, look at working at Dielines, look at creating color systems, look at type as graphics, logo creation, and it might bump to the next day. We're going to look at label creation, creating a series, creating rollout, and bringing packaging to life in mockups. So they're all the things that we're going to sort of touch on. All right.
Looks good.
So this comes to the research stage. So one of the key things I do before jumping into a project, especially if it's packaging, is to have a look at what's out there and make sure I'm aware of the requirements of what I'm about to design. So market research is really important. You can go down to the bodega and look at the ice cream shelves and see what's going on. I think I Googled America's favorite ice cream or most popular ice cream, and I picked the top 3. So Ben & Jerry's, we all know it. We all love it.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely one of the better treats.
For sure. I feel like Ben & Jerry's was the first to really like say, hey, you know what? It's all about the stuff it's all about like the chunky monkey or whatever's in the ice cream. It's all about those little gems you find in there. And they didn't hold back. So shout out to Ben & Jerry's.
I love that. Yeah. They're not skimpy.
Yeah,
They're generous ice cream. And okay, so just on saying that, when we look at their packaging, you can see all those visual indicators of what's in there, and they're really playing on scale. And they're like, look at all of this stuff that's in your ice cream. It's bigger than the scoop itself. So they are actually kind of conveying that message to you. What's inside is important.
You're probably, but I was also thinking that like, you don't really need to be able to even read what it says.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know English, you'd be like, I'm going to get the one with Oreos on it.
Yes.
Sorry.
I believe, no, that's really true. And this also comes to a point of when you're naming flavors. So if you saw New York Super Fudge Chunk, you could maybe guess that there was fudge in it, but you wouldn't know what else is in there. It's a really abstract
Pieces
name.
of New York.
Delicious.
That's
delicious pieces of New York. Same with Cherry Garcia, which is Jerry Garcia. Like you totally know what's in there.
Cherry Garcia in it? Anyway.
Even just like everything but it actually doesn't tell you anything. So when you're naming ice creams, if you go pretty abstract, you kind of need to really show people what's in it so they pick it up. I'm also seeing branding colors. So if you see a wall of Ben & Jerry's from afar, it's just blue, green, and black. You can see it. You can always spot it. And then they position their brand so you're coming specifically for Ben & Jerry's, and that's a really important thing to them. The actual flavor colors only come up on just little names. So it's just a pop of differentiation. So that's what I'm seeing here. One last thing about this. Nutrition labels will vary from country to country. They're very specific and they do need to be approved by the FDA. There is standards and you can't always get a whole bunch of creativity and tailoring to this. So we're not going to do this today. We're not going to spend our time working on a table and building the ingredients on the other side. We're going to focus on the fun side, because this is also a bit of a legal process and it's not always up to the designer to see that through. So let's just have fun, focus on the front.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now we're going to look at Haagen-Dazs. Vastly different. And I just wanted to point out this. So if you go from here to here, it has a huge tonal shift change. We've got playful Ben & Jerry's, and then we've got this. And you can see that they're trying to position themselves as maybe more quality, the golds, the white space. It's letting us know that maybe it's a little bit more expensive. You know, it's sort of trying to make sure that you know that it's special. They've got flavor indicators because they don't have any color changing. So that's what we're seeing, and we're seeing gold, maroon, and black as their key colors. We're also noticing patterns for the first time. You can see how versatile that is and how it works across everything. And each pattern is slightly different. And I really like that. So it gives me an idea that I might want to try something like that. Then Halo Top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this your brand?
Yeah. I went through a Halo Top phase.
Me too. What was your go-to?
Oh, I don't know. I go for anything with like peanut butter, or like the mint chip would be really good that I see in the upper right.
Yes. Yeah. I think I always went for the oatmeal cookie. And
oh yeah, I've had that. That one's good.
Yeah, it's delicious.
That is a good one.
So this is for anybody who doesn't know Halo Top or isn't in America. It's a reduced calorie ice cream that tastes about 50% as good as regular ice cream, but you know, you take it. This is more stylized. It's more designed. You've also got the gold to say that it's a bit of quality, but we don't have those strong brand colors going through it. Each tub is representing the flavor because they don't have any photos saying this is strawberry and chocolate. So that's a different approach. I kind of like it. It's very stylized. And I wanted to show that with something that maybe has that stylized design, doesn't matter. You still have to use that plain old nutrition facts label legally.
I like it. Just to step back a little bit. Like, I really like how they focused on their differentiator, which was the calories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like very much market-driven design, I feel like, or you know what I'm saying? Like the design's driven by their differentiator and makes it stand out. So
yeah, their key point of difference. Not a lot of ice creams will tell you how many calories you're about to ingest.
Yeah, that's
Like
hidden on the, you know, and for the most part, you don't want to know. So that's of course buried in the back. But then when that's your selling point, and it is for Halo Top, because I think it actually tastes pretty good for being low calorie.
For what it is, it tastes pretty good. But then when you have full fat deliciousness somewhere else,
then you're like, oh yeah, that's right.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great. But whatever, eat what you want to eat.
Yeah.
Okay, so then last one I'm going to look at is Van Leeuwen. So Van Leeuwen is even more stylized, and we don't have any flavor indicators that are, you know, graphic elements or pictures. The color is the only thing that's providing us with any indication of what it is. Once again, I'm feeling like this has got more expensive in some way. It's more special in some way. I think the simplicity has got that message across. And they've just got really beautiful shelf presence. So if you're looking for Van Leeuwen, you're going to look for these harmonious colors as opposed to Ben & Jerry, where you're just looking for that blue and green wall. Mm-hmm. So really interesting sort of things that you can note. I also love that if you do a different version, so this is their vegan flavor, they've just inverted the colors. So they're still using the same rules of the brand, but they've flipped the color usage so people can tie the different products together. Okay. So when I do things like that, I like to write down what I've observed. And if you're new to doing something, like new to chewing gum packaging or coffee packaging or whatever, when you do market research, it, as obvious as it may be, sit there and write down the things that you're observing, because you can choose to go for that and really make sure that you hit that, or you can choose to do something different so you stand out. So as we noted already, color or image represents that flavor. There are key colors running through all of those brands. With Van Leeuwen, the key color was actually black. That was their neutral key color. Repetition of flowing, rounded typographic elements. Now, I didn't actually really speak about that, but you can see, look at all of these logo marks. There's a lot of melty and swirly things, which is kind of appropriate to ice cream. Logo placement and key information remain static, while the flavors and colors change. So if you want good shelf presence, you've got to make sure that the key information always stays in that same position, so it looks like a family. And once more, the nutritional information, barcodes, ingredients, that's going to be templated, and it's going to vary, and you're not going to have a huge amount of creative flair on them. Cool, so that's what we learned. We're going to take that moving forward. Now we're going to jump into ideation, and this is where I'm going to need your help, Paul.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So we have a theme, which I've already said is Meltdown Moments. But sometimes when you're starting a fictitious project, you get to pick your own theme, and you may be either stuck for an idea or you have too many ideas and you don't know how to roll it out. So I like to play question games like this to try and find a theme that works for me. So I'll explain how I got mine. And it was, when do I reach for a tub of ice cream? Right? So maybe it's when I'm rewarding myself, but most of the time it's when I'm like, oh, I don't feel great. I just need to do a little self-love moment and go pick up some ice cream. So it's when I'm having a bit of a meltdown for me. So that could lead you into a whole bunch of directions on why you may reach for a tub of ice cream. Now, if we were to, so this is a funny one. So if ice cream flavors were represented by celebrities, who would they be? So do you have a
I would say I would be like Betty White.
Betty
just
White?
Like sweet and comforting, and you just want to, you would just feel good about yourself after hanging out with her. I
feel like maybe Marshmallow, something like that, because she's like so sweet.
Like what type of ice cream she would be.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's even better. Okay, yeah, I was trying to think of somebody who it would be like ice cream. But yes, exactly. Like marshmallow.
White chocolate marshmallow.
Or a rum raisin, just because it's like, a different generation.
That is one of the best flavors, though. I love rum raisin.
Also, it's hard to find.
Yeah, and she's like quite sassy as well as like quite sweet. So I like that. That's a really great one. If you think about like a song perhaps. So the one that I thought of is if you're doing raspberry beret, like if you're going Prince or something, you could do like raspberry sorbet. You could have a bit of fun with that. If ice cream was a place, where would it be? Now you can approach this two ways. So when you think of ice cream, where are you? Are you on the beach? Are you in your backyard? Are you on the street? Is it summer? But then you could also pick a place and think about what ice cream flavor that would be. So if you're thinking Italy, maybe it's espresso and biscotti. And then you've got this, range that will be international flavors, and it's going to be easier to theme and have an idea behind it. Cool. I like it. So there's also things, so star signs, if you want to, like whatever star sign you are, try and match up flavors to what star signs and their personalities. Some of them are really goofy, I think, like what would ice cream for aliens be? So
interesting. Like pistachio. I do it out of this world. What would it be like pistachio, which I love pistachio ice cream.
Oh, it's delicious.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think
because it's green too. I don't know.
I think so. I think you could also do things with like pop rocks and rock candy.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Swirls in it and
galaxy ripples. Oh, maybe you can call it galaxy. Like that's already an idea. I mean, you could just pick the solar system and do an ice cream for each planet in our solar system. So
an asteroid asteroids for chocolate chunks is what Steve says.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So if you're playing at home, you don't need to do the meltdown moments. You can think of your own theme and then follow the process that we're going to take. But have fun when you're ideating and like do some things that are based in reality and then do some things that are based out of reality, and you'll get an interesting result.
Yeah, and it makes it fun because let's face it, doing design work, you're gonna hit a part where like this sucks, this is difficult, but this is a fun exercise, so I'm into it.
Yes, yeah, design is fun, and fundamentally it should be fun. So yeah, enjoy it. Okay, and then so I did meltdown moments. So this is maybe the opposite of fun because I'm now going to let you in on all of my anxieties. This is me sharing far too much of myself. So I thought about meltdown moments, and I thought about, what feelings am I feeling when I'm having a little meltdown? So they were frustrated, worried, sad, anxiety, things that we all feel every day. No problem about feeling those as well. I'm pro having these feelings. They're part of life. So there are big things and there are little things. Because I want to have a bit of playful, cheeky sort of ness to this, I've got some things that are a little bit funny. So the big thing is I'm worried about my 5-year plan, because who's got that sorted? The silly things are, did I turn the stove off? My anxiety levels doing Adobe Live right now, skyrocketing. Smaller things, my phone being on 1 or 2% battery, and I'm just like, oh no. I can be sad because I'm missing somebody. I can also be sad because once again my houseplant died. I can't keep them alive. It's a horrible. We've got never-ending lockdowns and running late or subway delays. So in here, I can see in the forum people are saying I'm out of ice cream is its own meltdown moment. Yeah, so feel free to share any, of your own funny, more likely meltdown moments that, might make you reach for some ice cream.
The Wi-Fi is down or something. Like what else is there to do?
Yeah, the internet broke. Yeah, it's so much. All right, so I did this prior. And then once you get those ideas, you can think about flavor naming. These are not going to win a literary prize. It's not meant to. And some of the rhymes are really, really reaching. But this is okay because we're here to have fun in it. So we've got working late, whiskey cream latte. I thought a little bit of whiskey and also coffee if you're working late. We are on a break, mint choc cheesecake. Subway delay, strawberry parfait, 1% battery, mango daiquiri, plant killer, lemon lime and bitter. Rent is due, chocolate fondue, lost my phone, waffle cone, bad hair day, wild berry sorbet, and computer crashed, citrus blast. So I am not a rhyme queen in any way. So if you come up with flavors in the forum, we may even swap them in. So if you come up with something cool, let me know.
These are like really fun. Like, good job. And so just a real quick question, like, so you as the designer and I guess you, since you are an independent designer, your job is also the copywriter in this case.
Yes. Well, because this is a conceptual piece more to teach everybody how this can work. And if you're creating your own conceptual piece to bump up your folio right now, you're a new designer, that's what you can do. But I also do consult with startups, quite a few startups, where I will help them with taglines and help them get their tone of voice across. So this is something I do, in my practice as well.
Yeah. Into it.
All right.
Yep. Do you guys have any more? Like, didn't save my work? Like, think of, feel free to, like.
Oh my God.
Keep them coming. And if you could pair it with an ice cream, like you just did, Shanti, that makes it even more fun. So.
Yeah. Didn't save my work. Oh gosh, that one would. I've done it before. Okay. So we're sorry, I flipped without talking. So we're going to look at graphic elements now. Graphic elements are the thing that's going to create interest on my my package. So I put the keywords from my ideation, my mind map, and it's anxiety, frustration, worry, sadness. And when I went and looked for references, these are the things that fairly obviously answered that. And I mean, you're getting that whole, your thoughts are getting confused. Maybe you're losing energy. Maybe, just things are a bit hazy. So we're seeing all of that come through in different ways. I like that type has become a graphic element. And I enjoy what's going on in this little section. I don't think I want my thing to be readable because I've got a lot of information to put on this label. But this is interesting, and it's somewhere that I think we could push to. When you look at it literally, it kind of comes across like this. But then I found this, and it just has this incredible way of cutting through, because visually it's telling you one thing, which is everything is fine. And then underneath that, it's giving you a message maybe that everything is not fine. And I like that it makes you work for what's going on and try and put them together. Considering I'm saying you've had a bad day, have a good night with this ice cream, have this to make it feel better. I think this may be where I want to go. So color is a big thing about this, sort of rainbows and suns, and that
very friendly. Like there are hard edges, but even like the fonts are like, kind of rounded a little bit, and everything's like really playful, even though the messages are hilarious.
Yes. Some of them are like actually good messages. Some of them are just it's a sad rainbow, but he's doing his best. Okay, so we're going to take some inspiration.
So strong. I'm into it. Can't find my pants. Chocolate chili thunder.
Yep.
That's from a fellow Kiwi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. Okay, so we're going to head to Illustrator now. So that's a bit of the brief and ideation process. I hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to follow those steps on your own. Okay, so this is my teacher sensibility coming out. This file here is just to organize all of the lessons we're about to learn. I can also make it available. I'll put it somewhere on my website. You can come and grab it if you want to use it so that you can do this at home. So we're going to learn a few lessons in a big round, but I want you to know that in the process of design, it's not always linear like this. Sometimes you jump around in different steps and refine. So we might do that as well. So let's start at the beginning. So we're going to jump right in. Let's talk about Dielines. So do the people in the forum know what dielines are, or is that a strange sort of term?
Yeah, let us know if you know what dielines are.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, I don't know how you made these dielines.
Oh my gosh.
But,
Well, yeah, fairly simply. And maybe I will bring up a box dieline because mine are single-sided sort of thing, so it doesn't illustrate it as much. So let's have a look-see. Dielines. Here we go. Here's one. The flat version of the package you're about to make. And on dielines like this one, maybe is there one that's a bit bigger? There's often a few different markings. We can see where the art ends. We can see the trim lines. Sometimes you can see where it's going to be scored so that it can fold. And sometimes you can see where it's going to be perforated. This one tells me that I'm going to have some glue happening here. So all of these things help you to understand. Oh, that one just even says glue. What's going to be happening? So cutting, creasing. So this is the flat map. So you know how to put your art, build your art to be printed on there. So a die-line is what designers are in control of. And then there's also something called a die cut. And that's also maybe a knife, if in America, I'm not sure. So let's go here. So when you make that shape in Illustrator, you pay a certain amount of money to get an actual knife built. So here we're seeing it's made from wood and it has blades that will go and chomp into paper to make that shape. And it's still to this day a manual process, which is wild to me and I love it. And you know, it doesn't take too long to do it. You can use it over and over and over again. There are also laser cutting options these days, which may be a bit cheaper and easier to do. So this is a die cut or a knife. And the thing that we work with is a die line. So that's nice. Small amount of history.
Yeah. And so there's like, you know, you could also be just using a standard shape for a burger box, for instance, or cup or something, right? So you could have a standard die line that hopefully you could just find out there.
Totally.
And this is the 16-ounce die line for this cup.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're doing your first packaging thing out there, talk to the manufacturer or the printer because they will often have pre-made die cuts with their own die lines that they can give you that they've worked with before. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Ice cream cartons are pretty much the same across the board. I wouldn't be doing a unique one, or it'd be a pretty rare case for me to do that. They'd have to have some budget behind them. So always, these are often supplied. These ones, well, I did make them, but because they're very simple shapes, this is just by, so let me going in. It is just with vector and drawing. What happens is that color, so this is my bleed line, you save it out as a spot color. And I think I'm probably going to go into too much information up front, but you can save it out as a spot color and name it. And that means when they're building your die, they'll know which line means which thing, and then that will be built physically. I wanted to also just talk about organization and how to approach design on something that's cylindrical. So always have your die line on its own layer. Ooh, ooh. The right one. Oh, I went too far. So always have your die line in the right layer so that it doesn't interfere and accidentally go on the art. That means that you'll be able to keep everything organized. And if you have the die line above the art, you'll always know where you are in that design. So that's a handy thing to do. And if you're designing something that's cylindrical that has a curve, you can kind of like get a neck ache, kind of like turning your head and trying to match that curve. We don't want that to happen. So it's very easy to just do a rectangle as a normal rectangle. So maybe I will draw a rectangle so you can see. Design on a rectangle, like this. And then you can just go ahead and warp it. So this warping tool, it automatically comes in at 50. I know because I've worked with this one before. It's around about 20. So you group all your stuff, you warp away, and then bam, you've got it that fits into that cylindrical surface. So we're not going to design on a curve, we're going to design straight.
Nice. What's that curve for? Is that for the, that's for the pint.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So when you roll out something, because it's slightly thinner towards the base and it goes up, it means that that turns out like that. We've got a lid, pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be a single serve cup, which we'll get into a bit later. And this is going to be the thing that wraps around the cone to stop the dripping on your hands. So that's cool. Die lines, die cuts, what they're in here, like how to manage them in here, and also work straight when you've got something cylindrical and then warp it at the end. All right, let's roll.
And you just did that with, you just created those shapes in Illustrator, basically.
I did.
Sorry, question. Like, how did you get that outside border for a stroke? Can you?
Yeah. So if you, are you talking about offset part?
Yes.
Yes, okay, no problem. So you can do any kind of shape. And let's put in something a bit stranger than this. I don't know, say for some reason you're cutting out this shape and you need to add bleed. You can go object and path, offset path. Oh, actually, sorry, I might just copy it and paste it before, because otherwise it'll just move it. So path, offset path, and you can either put in a positive number or a negative number, so it can shrink or it can grow. So I want it to be 3 millimeters out, so that's my bleed number. You can even preview it to see what it's going to do and then go, okay. And then you've got the 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's probably what, I mean, I guess people use offset path for lots of things.
Oh,
but that's
so
like that's a huge use for it right there.
Yeah, yeah. Really, really handy.
Very cool. Want to welcome everybody. RB, hello.
Yeah.
Ryan. Yeah, and you're actually doing great because people set up these questions, but then you turn around and answer them without even knowing it.
Do I? Oh, good.
Yeah, you're nailing it. Like, how did you? Oh, you just showed that. Never mind.
Teacher instincts. I'm used to hearing what I hear in class.
Real fast, Annika asks if you have a packaging or a design inspiration website or resource or something like that.
How about the Dielines?
Sounds very appropriately named.
Yes, it is. So you can, it's thedieline.com. And when we go in here, it has a blog about all of the incredible packaging that's happening at this moment. It's spectacular. They also have awards. So you can see like the best of that year. You can see the trends. It's a really, really incredible resource for me. And I believe that they have somewhere starter Dielines that you can download. And I think it's maybe one of their blog posts, but have a look around, but you can download from there. There's also a community, a conference. Yeah, so head here. This is the place to find the best Dieline
very cool
packaging things.
You and Annika are on the same page because she's like, yes, love them.
Yes,
so they
are. Yeah, they're incredible. Okay, so we've left our Dielines and I'm leaving it. I'm ignoring it for a bit. We'll come back because I'm going to focus on graphic elements. Now, we saw a bunch of warped type. I really liked it. I want to do something like it, but I'm going to perk it up with those cute colors. So this is the world I'm going to go into. When it comes to graphic elements, may I suggest that you never do something for random. Don't put polka dots because polka dots are there. Make sure that they mean something. Intentional design is incredible. So I'm going to go into my Finder. I'm going to grab my content, which I pulled together before, and it's just my flavors. So let's grab them all in. And I'll do a bit of a copy paste. Oh, let's jump on in. So I've got my flavors. What we can do is warp this type to create our own pattern. I don't want it so that it ends up being something that we read. I want it to be creamy and fun and inviting, but I like the idea that behind it is actually the message. So let's go with strawberry delay. Subway delay. And then we'll pop it over here. The way I'm going to do this, I have already learned that I need to do a couple of things by trial and error. So sometimes it's better just to see me do it once, and then I'll clarify why I did a bunch of things. So I'm going to change this to uppercase because I want big, strong lines to warp. And because I want those strong lines, something too rounded isn't going to work. I want something condensed so that it becomes its own pattern. So I'm going to go Command T. We'll bring up our type. And there's obviously all of the different things. Pop this up because it's going a bit below. All the things you can do. So like abolition could be something. Verbis nu could be something. Yeah, just have a look and see what you like. One of the most condensed ones is an Adobe font that I have, which is B.
Ah.
B2, B3. Oh
wow,
my gosh,
that is like
B.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's zoom on so you guys can see. So, you know, maybe pick one of these.
I like condensed fonts.
Me too.
I do.
They're so helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make it bigger so I can zoom out a bit more. Okay, I'm going to give all of the type people out there a small heart attack. But it's going to be okay because this type isn't going to be type in the end. It's going to be our graphic element and our pattern. So I'm going to mess with the proportions. I'm going to stretch it, but never fear, I will treat it with respect in its own way. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to outline it. So Command-Shift-O. And when you hold, let me zoom in. When you hold Command down, you get your little radials there that like offer you up to be able to smooth it out. So I don't really want sharp angles and edges in what I'm about to do, so I've smoothed her out. Then we're going to grab it, Command C, Command V.
It's like easier to read that way too, actually.
I kind of like this. It works in its own way.
Yeah.
All right, now everybody be cool. But I'm going to turn it around and I'm really going to mess with it. Actually, before I do this, we'll keep going. I might just remove the space between subway and delay because too many spaces are going to look a bit strange in a second. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to squish her and I'm going to stretch her. So you can see that
you are.
I
Holy
am.
cow.
Is everybody okay in the forum? Get support for yourselves. Yeah.
Everybody's like, something better change. That's what they're thinking. Something better change pretty quick. No.
I'm so sorry. It's okay. Yes, things will change. Okay, you can see here that it's become its own pattern element, and I'm going to warp things around. Illustrator does have a bit of a smudgy warpy tool, but it doesn't always do things as fluidly as I would like. Is it the warpy guy?
Yeah.
He does an okay job, but he causes some issues as he goes. You can change him up a bit, but I'm going to bring us into Photoshop because the Liquifying tool is just a lot of fun. And if you've never used it, let's expose you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So create new. Oh.
This is good, just general advice for anyone, obviously. Like, extrapolate this if you're working on your own brand.
Yeah.
Like Gus says, you know.
I'm just going to do a quick reset.
And I like what you said about, like, you do things with meaning. Like, the client might come and say, hey, why did you do X? You can't be like, oh, because I thought it was cool. Just be like, no, that's actually this, blah, 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 blah. Like,
yeah,
you have
being so
have
cool
a
right now.
reason for the colors you pick, and you know, it should come with meaning, not just because you think it looked cool.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
intentional design, or else design is just random. And I don't,
And that's
not.
okay too, but if even if it's random, have a reason for it being random. You
Yeah.
just have a reason, I guess, is kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, it is. It definitely have a reason. Anti-design doesn't follow a bunch of design principles, but it does it for a reason. So that's something that I really respect. Okay, so I'm going to go create. I just made a Photoshop file that's going to be about 8 inches by 4 inches, 300 DPI. This doesn't matter so much. We just need a canvas to play on. So I'm going to go create. Wow, teeny, teeny, tiny. Let's zoom on in. And I'm going to paste. So let's bring it in as a smart object. Ooh. Let's go get her again. Oh, what's happening?
That's interesting, huh? Yeah, it's just if
you know what, let's just bring it in as pixels.
Or yeah, hit enter and see if it changes. Oh, it must be the size of it. You're zoomed in. That's super small for some reason.
Let's go again. All right, let's go again. Come on, new. Oh, because it's in pixels, not inches. I told it to be 8 by 5 inches, not 8 by 5 pixels. And off we go. Okay, let's see if this will work slightly better now. Ta-da!
There we go.
Okay, so we're going to bring this up a little bit. I might even make it bigger than this. Let's go 300 DPI.
Yeah, give yourself some.
Yeah, there we go.
Room.
So we've got our subway delay squished in here, and we're going to change things up. So if we go to filter and liquify, all right, we get this. You can change the size of your arrow by using your square brackets. So that's going to be helpful if you're new to this and you just pop something in. Now, this is where I kind of want to talk about visualizing emotions. We looked at it. So like, how are you feeling when there is a subway delay? Are you red hot angry and wanting to like break the glass, or are you just like, oh, exasperated?
Yeah, I don't take the subway, but like I'm the type that would just be stressed out about it. And I'm not even trying to make it to an appointment. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like usually it's because you're going to miss something. And half the time I'm like, why am I in such a rush? So it's this urgent rush feelings, which is why I have gray hair, I guess. I'm really 23. I don't know if people know this. I'm 23 years old. That's what the subway will do to you, folks.
I thought you were 19. Wow. So this is where I want you guys to put yourselves into this. So when I'm in a subway delay and it's like stinking hot and it's crowded, not that I've done that in a year, basically, I kind of just get a bit droopy and it's slow. So my feelings feel a bit more like, ugh, like this, right? So you can change the pressure of how you're feeling. I'm droopy, I'm not feeling so great.
I like how it's like melty too, like the screen, which you're probably going for. 2 reasons now. Ooh.
Oh, there's so many reasons. Yeah, so I'm like, ugh, it's a bit droopy. Now, if I'm doing another flavor, I might feel like far more intensity with it, and I'll go a bit faster when I do this. So I'm just using the push. There's also, if you want to play with it, a bloat. So if you want to create some more fatty ones, you can pop that in. Just have a bit of a play.
It's just, I must say, like Liquify tool is it's just one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's so powerful.
Yeah, it's just like so fun, and it's like instant gratification.
I think so too. And I feel like if you're in a meltdown moment, maybe open up Liquify tool and liquify sometime.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, it's literally in the name. You're doing a meltdown, use Liquify. Like, I don't know.
There are layers. This is all meta. Okay. So maybe I'll leave this here for now. go okay, and I've made some interesting sort of graphic element really, really quickly, and I've made it from type, so it means something. I like when patterns are used on products. I think they're really versatile. I don't like when the pattern is always the same across everything. So I like changing up if there are variations. So let's go back and do one more, just so that the process got through. And did I go too fast for anybody else, or did everybody get that? How you feeling, everybody?
Well, Mayor says that, you created a melting ice cream effect here.
Yes, I did.
Sydney says, watching Shanti design calms me. Oh, that's good.
I'm happy to provide that.
Yeah. Everybody's into it. Thank you for participating. Thank you, Alex Daly. I almost read that as delay, which would have worked for this, but we'll just swap your name in there and you got your own design. How about that?
I know Alex Daly, and her sister has a catering company called Daily Delivery, spelt the Daley way. So they use the puns in that family.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a second one, and I'm going to show you how you can warp it when you've got a little bit more of a stronger frustration. So I'm going to go Command Option O, going to outline it. Hitting Option, you can round those edges. Then we're going to copy it. In the same files, all good. I'm just going to shut down, not shut down. I'm going to hide the layer. Pop it in, turn it around. Holding Alt Shift now in Photoshop, which always gets me because I'm warping it. And let's liquify again for people who are new to it and want to sort of see how that works. So filter, liquify. And okay, so working late. You're working late because there is a deadline, right? Oh no. So you're working fast, you've had too much coffee, it's a frenetic time, maybe you've bought out that bottle of whiskey that's hidden. So, let's go for it. So I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, and get just a little bit more going on in this. So put out those feelings in this process. Yeah. Really go for it. Squish her up. All right. And it's going to have its own beautiful effect. And I know right now it's black and white, so maybe a little intense. We're going to perk that up with colors. Colors are so powerful. Okay. Maybe that's how we're feeling. Let's go okay. All right. So now we've got our second one. So our first one and our second one. And you can see how they have just a bit of a different feeling. That's what we want. Cool. So I'm going to select them both. We're going to export them. Export as SVG. Let's make them pretty big. SVGs, that's big enough for me. And we'll go export. Into Dielines, go for Dielines. Let's put it there.
Now, if you're exporting it as a... So yes. It's going to export it as a vector SVG?
So I tested this. It doesn't. It comes out as a pixel, but I could have just done PNG or JPEG because I will end up live tracing because I want to get them back into vector, into that world.
Yeah.
But when I can, I always try and do SVG if I'm going to Illustrator, but it doesn't really make a difference right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have control when you like live trace it and stuff like that. And
yeah, I'm going to show a few different things that you can do in live trace. I'm going to do it wrong and then I'll do it right.
I know I learn the most when I mess up. Yeah. And, even when you had that little bit of an issue with pasting it in at a different size, like I love it when people go through the troubleshooting process and all that. That's where like a lot of learning happens. So it's good.
I think so too. And it, wouldn't it be boring if you were perfect?
Yeah, nobody wants to. People love it in live, especially live presentations when people mess up.
Yeah.
Because then partially it's like, oh, this is real. This is a real thing that's happening.
They're doing this.
It's almost like the unexpected.
Yeah, I think so. Hey,
Ooh, I like that. Sorry, yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Pearl has a good idea, like using the Liquify just as therapy. Yeah. Write down just like you were doing, working late and all that stuff, and just go to town on that type.
Yeah. Did somebody break your heart? Write their name.
Write their name.
Liquify it.
Liquify the heck out of that thing.
You know, you might want to bring like that crinkle tool. Lots of things you can do.
There's lots of tools like that in Illustrator, like underneath the bendy tool that you're reviewing, the one that does the spikies and stuff.
Do you want me to play with them?
I do at some point, just for therapy, just because it'll be fun.
Let's show what we're talking about here. Okay, so we've got some stuff. So there are crystallize. Let's make that a bit bigger. And you can see, you can see what it's doing. It's like making all of those points. What else do we have?
Just like you, like it's really hard to control, but it's still pretty cool. Like I just noticed, like really hard to anticipate what's going to happen.
I know, which is awesome. So happy accidents are a part of design, right? Like every designer loves a happy accident.
Yeah, there's those.
Yeah. Oh, and pucker and bloat. They're actually handy, and you can at times.
You might be able to hold down the Option key, and it might switch to bloat.
Oh,
see if it
did
does.
it do it?
I don't know. Did it?
Wait, let's go. We can just go to bloat. Bloat goes the other way.
And then if you double click on the bloat tool, just double click on the tool over there
to get some options.
Yeah, you know about all this. I don't need.
Yeah, no, but
I was just trying to.
Everybody.
Oh, Option key. Oh, that's for the brush size. That's what the Option keys. Oh, my bad. Oops. Now I know.
No, that's all right. It's a good learning point though. So you can change the intensity and the pressure and all of that sort of stuff. So if it's doing it too hard, you can make it softer. You can change whether it's too angular. These are tools that aren't, I have no idea what that is now. We'll leave that there. But these are tools that are sort of almost long lost, forgotten things, but they're going to come back in fashion. I know it. All right. So I just drag and dropped in my images from Photoshop. They are pixel based, even though I went for an SVG, probably needlessly. So we're going to image trace. Image trace sometimes has a bad rap, but it just depends on when you're image tracing. So if you're image tracing brush lettering, that's probably not the best thing to do. Do that in Photoshop. If you're image tracing something like this, because you want it to be vector in the end, this is good. So thick, solid lines, that's really great in image trace. So I'm just going to hit it for the automatic thing that will happen, which I think is pretty good actually for this, but let's look at what else it does. We've got this little guy here where I'm going to find some more options.
Yeah, I don't think I've never used this.
Really?
I swear I haven't.
Oh my gosh.
I'm blown away right now, by the way. Like I'm
Fabulous.
Blown away. This is awesome.
So there's black and white trace, and that's just made it vector as is. You can make it more and less complex. I'm going to make it less complex because I don't need 1,000 anchor points going on. I want it to be less complex. If you put in a color image, you can tell it its color. I'm leaving it on black and white. There are lots of presets in here that will change the complexity. So it will tell you, use line art, use technical drawing, shades of gray. Whatever you're tracing, you pick what's right. But even when you pick what's right, you can change it. So I'm going to say I want some less paths, and it will probably beach ball while it thinks for a sec. Great. I want it to be pretty smooth, so it probably will think again.
This is amazing. Does everybody else know about this? And I was like the only one.
And then this is the kicker. This is the thing that you need to remember to do. Yeah. Ignore white. So I will just leave it as it is and forget to do that. And then I'm going to show you what ignore white does. So ignore white, I'm going to not leave it. I'm going to do the wrong thing. So once you're finished, you go expand. And what has happened here is that the white itself is its own shape because it didn't know what things I needed. So let me just move this screen thing. Let's put a color on it. You can see that I've got that other shape there, not just the black. So, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of cool looking. You may want that shaped in your process, what that white was. I don't. But you can also see here that now each of these are their own little vectors, infinitely scalable. So we've got them and we can use them however we want. So let's go back. And then I will ignore white. Great. So ignoring white will make sure that it does not create that background shape.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like Mesa just learned about that last week. So this is why Adobe Live is good. It's so awesome.
Yes.
Like there's always something to learn. Like I'm on here all the time. I'm in Illustrator, I thought all the time. And no, sir, you have stuff to learn. So this is so powerful. They ignore white, like you said.
Yeah.
Looking really crisp, you know?
Oh yeah, it will be really, it should be really crisp. I mean, like,
Black
so
and
I've got that
white.
little corner thingy there. I don't love it. So like, let's make the corners less. See if we can get it sort of nicer. We may even end up editing that. Yeah.
We did update the simplify paths tool, just so you know, and that's in a different area.
Oh,
well, actually, it's in the same area, but so if you do need to bend the vectors,
if we need to bend it, we can bend it.
Yeah.
Once we see how we're using it, it doesn't need to be necessarily so perfect, but also you modify and you finesse to make sure it's right. Craft is amazing. Okay, ignore white. Okay, now expand. Okay.
I love it. Snap curves to lines if you want to.
Yeah, and I've now got myself a cool looking thing that I can play with. And I'll just very quickly do it with this one as well. So image trace. It's going to keep the settings I just used, thankfully. So ignore white. Oh, it didn't actually. Made me a liar. Sorry. But that's okay. We can do it. And we'll go expand. Voila. We've got these two cool things to play with.
Oh yeah. And fun to make.
Yeah, fun to make. And we're going to really utilize these in a special way. But before we start messing around with them, let's get to color palettes and then come back so we use them. Okay.
Good call.
Mm-hmm. So color. I might just take a really quick drink.
If you guys have questions, feel free to say hello. And everybody's like, Arden says, learning some good tips, tricks being shared. Love the process. Yeah, awesome. So thank you for being so positive. This is an important part as we go dive into color. Now, would you I guess it kind of depends on the project, like when you would give it color.
Mm-hmm.
Like it kind of just depends, but I think you're going to introduce it now. We'll play with it because let's face it, especially for ice cream, I feel like color plays a pretty big role.
It's going to play a huge part. Yeah, it really will. I like to have the basis of colors fairly early on, but I will use them until I'm like, this isn't right. And then I will tweak them. And then I will just try a completely new color set once the design is set. I just need one set to get going. And then later on, I will refine or change. So we do need some colors.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, what I have done is a bit of market research and breaking things down. I have a fairly analytical mind, and so I need to see how these palettes work. So we grabbed Ben & Jerry's, and you can see that their neutrals are black and white. These are almost always in palettes. Have white or have black. It's always helpful. Key brand colors across all of Ben & Jerry's is blue, green, and yellow. So it's really hard to see the yellow, but the yellow is just kind of around their logo. So that's always on their products. So these are omnipresent colors. And then the variables are all here. And these variables are just the 6 flavors that I'm seeing. You can see that they change in tone, they change in complexity. Ben & Jerry's is wild. They have fun, but they are able to do that because they use their key brand colors so heavily. Okay, so this is one makeup of a palette. Now, when we go to Van Leeuwen, their key color and their brand color are the same. They've only got one, and that's black. They don't even have white.
That's just so blows my mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Their brand color is black. Anyway, and they're known for being such a beautiful pastel company. Like, that's what people bring in. I sampled just the ones here, and you can see now they're clever designers, because they've picked these tones and shades that are all in this one realm. So they're so harmonious, and when they're on a shelf together, they look so gorgeous. They also picked colors that can hold black, right? So that's why their key color is black, because black contrasts on these pastels really well. White would not. So you can sort of see their thinking. And Halo Top, just the third one. And it's another version, another variation. We've got neutrals, which is they've got a creamy white that is their neutral. Their key brand color is gold. It's always on it, and it's what their logo's in. And then these are some variables just from this shot. Their variables are actually quite strong, far stronger than Van Leeuwen's. And that's because I think that they like to flip their logo into this creamy white color. So it's intensities and tones of colors really help.
Yeah, and looking at those variable colors, like, I'm not that excited about them, but when they start combining them together and with the neutrals, I'm like, yeah, that is very trendy and, you know, fresh and everything, you know.
Yeah,
so I'm into it.
Good on them for going dark in some of the ice cream realm. It's not always seen. We're seeing more of this. And Ben & Jerry's, they can just do whatever they want. The product is good. So I will make with you 3 color palettes. And if you're new to color palettes and find it hard to control them because they can get very complex very quickly, maybe just do the simple one, or start with the simple one and see if you can add more things. So let's jump in, and we're going to go and we're going to draw a box.
I like how you referenced those those designs as well, because I think sometimes this is what happens. Somebody's like, mood board. In the beginning, we never see it again. Or here's these other, we never see it again. So thank you so much for jumping back to it and referencing that stuff. That's a really common thing that you lose. You do a lot of planning and then you lose yourself along the way. So documenting your process is the #1 way to not forget. Okay, so we're going to do the most basic palette, which is 2 neutrals and 1 pop color. So the neutrals in itself, like Van Leeuwen, will be the key colors. So let's go black and white, and then we will grab 1 other color. So if we're doing strawberry, so we've got colors here, let's bring it out, make it a little bit, oh, come here. Oh, let's drag so we can see a bit more. I'm going to be using the RGB color spectrum because in this fictitious brand that we're making, we have an unlimited budget to buy lots of really fancy inks, and so do you at home. So feel free to pick from RGB because in the real world, you can always find out the closest PMS or spot color to that, and you can find an incredible amount of special inks out there. But this is fictitious, so let's go in the RGB spectrum so we can play with more exciting colors. So strawberry. I'm talking about exciting, talking about RGB. So let's make this one a little bit electric. So if we're talking about how we're feeling, and it's red hot and it's quite bright, some of those wavy patterns we saw kind of look like acid rave aesthetic in 90s design. So let's do some electric pop colors. So this could be our brand colors for Strawberry Parfait. Let's duplicate it. And then I know that I've got mint. So let's go very vibrant mint. And then, let's zoom on out, duplicate it again.
And what are we making? We're making lemon something, lemon dream. So these are really, really vibrant colors, really simple palettes to go with. If you're new to palettes and you want to figure out how to use them, go ahead and do this. They're often so strong. Once you do this, one thing I always suggest is you grab your variable colors and put them near each other, because you want to make sure that they are in the same range. Okay, so even there I can see my pink is maybe a little too much. So maybe bringing it down to match them a bit more. I can see there we go. It's just a little bit better. So I would replace that. There we go. And I've got one set, vibrant, done. So this is something you can play with at home. Now let's do this again, but get more complex. Sorry, I just lost my headphone. Let's get rid of black as our key color. Let's try and bring in a brand color.
Into it.
Yeah.
You're right there.
Oh, my headphone decided to faint. Okay.
Are there, Mayor's asking if there's specific colors you need to stick with while branding for physical products?
No is the answer. I think you will always require white because of barcodes and things like that. They have to sit on white. There's no way around it. But there are no real rules. So in the back, black and white will happen in labels, but you can also make it a really dark blue or really dark purple in America. But yeah, there's none that you need to keep to.
Do you also kind of think about, excuse me, like Halo Top, how they have the gold like foil? That's a Pantone color. Like, tell me, is that a Pantone color? What is it?
No, that's a foil because it is so
foil.
shiny, and it's a really beautiful surface. Actually, where is it? This here, it's not shiny. So let's zoom on in. This here on top, that's not shiny. That's going to be a PMS. And what is the PMS for gold? Like 8 something, 814, 816.
Oh, wow.
Something. I don't know.
That's impressive, everybody. That's awesome.
I used to know so many Pantones off by heart, but it's been a while. So this is gold as a Pantone. This here is foil. So foil is a material and it's applied using sort of glue. Or it's applied by heat transfer or stamping into it.
And I'm an idiot because I just realized that's meant to represent a halo. It is, right? I guess. Did we both just realize that?
Yes.
We both just realized that. They're even more clever than we thought. Look at them.
Intentional design. That's amazing.
That's good stuff. There's good designers out there. Wow.
I love that.
Everybody's loving this too, by the way. So it's Alok says it's intense, or excuse me, it's insane, the list of achievements. Your brilliant work. Oh, so nice.
Thank you.
Ooh, Carol Pearl, that's a good point. Like foil on ice cream must be pricey. What about gold flecks in ice cream? That's for another day. Oh,
edible gold. Gold is edible, right? There's a certain...
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount, but not the way I eat ice cream. I would be at the lethal dosage of gold.
Yeah, gold
lawsuit on their hands.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's got any like benefits to it particularly, but yeah, I think there is a edible gold for sure. All right, I lost track. Let's do a slightly more complex palette, and I'm ditching black because let's just get out of the norm. So if I have a brand color that's purple, it needs to be a little bit strong because I'm going to have white type. I need something that's got depth in it that creates contrast. You always need something with depth or else you can't make type. So I've got some purple and then I've got my pink, but maybe I will go softer this time around. So we've got these 3. So I want to go a softer mint to sort of match it, and then a softer yellow.
Shanti, like you
Yes.
have, so as you're picking colors, like I feel like you have a certain like color palette that you kind of gravitate toward, which is awesome because I think that's good for a client to know what they're getting into when they hire you.
Yeah.
But I want to know if you look back at your older work, do you kind of know like, oh, I remember when I was into X, and that your taste for color kind of evolves, I guess.
Yeah, it's cyclical. It trends. Yes.
So staying on top of that stuff's like.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's good to do a retrospective on yourself anyway.
Yeah.
And catch yourself. I have a thing with pink. Sorry, guys. I have a thing with blue.
I love that color scheme at the top. The blue with that dusty pink is gorgeous.
Yeah. So, but then I also do, so talking about a 3-color palette, this is an example of one in action. So it can be so strong and really beautiful. This is another really simple palette. And then I have more complex ones as I go. So I think pink is around, blue is around, but then I also deviate and bring in some reds and all of that sort of stuff. I did have a time period where I was just desperate to do black and white to feel more classic in what I was doing.
Okay.
But also pick colors that are appropriate to your client. Oh, I might just have to swap my...
Oh, I hate it when I do that.
Yeah.
Do they fit better now?
I had to flip them before because my hair, I think, was making a rustle. So yeah, now we'll flip them. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've made the purple our brand color. We've added in some soft colors, but let's try and make this more complex. So if we also bring in another neutral, so colors, where did my colors go? Oh, I can see behind here. There we are. Maybe we could add in sort of a gray or even a softer purple because we've got purple there. I may be bordering slightly on Cadbury's, but that's okay. Do we know Cadbury's here?
I just think of Cadbury eggs.
Yes. Yeah, okay, Cadbury's chocolate has this their own PMS specific color recipe for their purple, just like Coca-Cola has their own red.
Ah. Got it. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a treasure when you got a Cadbury egg when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You get it as an adult, you're like, I can't finish this thing. It's like too much sugar. That's what I think.
It is.
I'm done. I can't do it.
Liquid sugar.
Yeah.
But they do have the small ones though now.
Oh, they do. Oh.
Yeah, like the teeny tiny eggs.
Little robin eggs.
Yeah. Okay, so here I've decided to make almost Cadbury's. That's okay.
You do it.
But we've got purple as our brand color, just in the same way that Ben & Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs has that maroon and gold. So you can have 2 brand colors and neutral. And then I've got my flavor palette. Once again, make sure that they sit pretty okay next to each other. And they're in that same value range. So we've got something more electric, something softer. Now I'm gonna expand my palette, and this will be the one that we'll end up using today. I'm not gonna do purples because Cadbury's and Dara Lee, they all own that space. Willy Wonka as well, I think is purple. Oh. So let's go blue, but not Ben & Jerry's blue. Let's go a rich blue, like royal blue, somewhere here. And I want white. I always end up with white. This is my brand color. This is my neutral. Then I want to make another brand color because it does help to have something to interchange with. When you're dealing with across the color wheel, blues, purples go well with yellows and oranges. So you can have a look at yellows and oranges. Because I've got a really strong brand color, I want a soft brand color. And it always ends up being a little bit more helpful in this process. Also, when you think about it as a concept, you've gone from a sad day to a happy day. It's about turning something, blue to warm. And I want one more neutral. And my one more neutral can just be a really soft cream. Just a little supporting color. Okay, so this would be my brand palette. And then run your key color across them all just to make sure that they all work. This is one of the things I do, is that the variable needs to work every time. So I want this, because these are rich and complex colors, I think I need my pink to be a little bit more rich and complex, and you can play with the dials a little bit to get that to work for you. Somewhere maybe there. And then let's duplicate that, and we need a mint somewhere that's rich and complex.
Yummy. They're looking tasty.
Yeah.
Wanna welcome Giselle from Argentina. If you're just joining us, Shanti Sparrow's taking us through packaging design today and tomorrow, but really branding, pretty much everything you need to know. This should be like required viewing for any aspiring designer out there.
Oh, yeah.
It is like a crash course. Like this is the real world stuff that you're working on, which is really fun. It's
hard to jump straight to packaging without at least having some research and a logo and a brand and all of that sort of stuff happening.
Even what you're doing now, it's like these colors might be together. Are they vibrating? Are they working together? Things like that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are 3 different variants. Like strawberry is almost always going to end up pink unless you're doing something else. But look at the 3 different pinks, look at the 3 different yellows, look at the 3 different mints. You can do it in so many ways. Think about the tone that you're wanting to bring across in your brand and pick appropriately. And make sure you can use it, like that it's versatile. So I'm maybe going to use this one. You guys remember, simple is absolutely okay and often sometimes more impactful. Right, now let's get back over here to our graphic elements. These little guys sitting here. And I'm going to play with them and see what we can do in terms of making them a little bit more less distressed and more inviting. Okay, so I've just duplicated it. I always like to keep the original hanging around so that I don't, if I need to go back and start again, I've got it. I'm gonna hit M for my shape builder, for my rectangle. Let's get rid of that. V, we're gonna go into our shape builder.
What was V for? What did you just do?
V to just select, go back to arrow.
Oh, okay, sorry. And then how did you do a shortcut to change that square to no color, no fill?
Yeah, backslash.
Backslash will give you no color on whichever one you have on top.
Yeah, and you can Shift X to change which one is on top.
Shift X. Got it. Thank you for Shift X backslash. Got it.
There's so many shortcuts.
There are, and they're different. And somebody mentioned this in chat too. Like they're different for Illustrator and for Photoshop. They just vary slightly. It's like in Photoshop, it would just be X flips the 2. So, anyways.
Yeah, and I mean,
I don't know.
Guess. Huh. Yeah, no, I don't know why they're like that either. I get asked that all the time.
I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of it.
Can you go ask Mr. Adobe?
Well, the thing, usually it's because Adobe bought another company. Like they bought Photoshop. So it wasn't even, or bought Illustrator. So now I got to go figure out the history of Photoshop and Illustrator, which I thought I knew. If only this was like an Adobe stream where we can find out.
Yeah.
It's like my job to know is what I'm saying. Jeez, get your act together. I'm on top of it.
You are secretly Mr. Adobe, right?
Well, I don't. I fake it on a good day. I fake it.
Okay, so I just drew a bounding box. I made sure that it was crossing over my swirly type thing that I've made. And using my shape builder, I'm applying color in different areas. So start with one color. So I know I'm doing strawberry and I've got my pink there. And start adding in those colors into these swirls. Okay, so we don't want it to be stark black and white like we had before. So I might add them in. And then I also want to bring in my secondary brand color, which is my orange, just to bring that warmth to the blue. I also want to bring in some creams And I do want to keep white around, so I might make sure I've kept that white. Pop it in those little spots. It does look like I'm doing nothing, but yes, they are. Yeah. Cool. And then we've got something already just really fast that has happened. So I'm going to go Shift M, and I'm going to just delete these edges, get rid of them. All right. And then look at that. We've got this really cool pattern going on. We can stretch it out. We can make it bigger. So depending on how you scale it in your packaging, you're going to get all these different options. So that's one just for strawberry. It's always good when you attempt something to then make sure it works on two things. So I always do one and then test on the second and then move on. So let's do that with working late, no, wait, I can't remember what one this was. I think it was working late. So we'll grab a box. Oh. Shift X and then do the backslash thing.
Yeah.
For everybody at home. Okay, and then we're going to go Shift M, and this time it's mint. So go like that, get some mint in there. Same deal. Just find your little spaces, bring in that orange, make sure it's working.
Yeah. That's cool. That's an effective way to use the shape builder.
Yeah.
There's also
live paint.
Yeah.
I like live paint, but I don't like what it does in terms of grouping and boxing at times.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, it makes more decisions than you want it to at times for me. So this doesn't. It only does the thing I asked it. So
nice.
Yeah. It's my little control world. And then also because it is the shape builder, I can really quickly like flip it,
chop it off,
do anything I want by hitting Option deletes in shape builder. Leave not hitting anything will add. So for those playing at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Carol mentions you should probably save this file before too long.
Or else we're gonna have to have a meltdown moment.
Carol Pearl has been a rock star in chat, by the way, like being so witty and informative and nice.
Thank you, Carol. Also, Carol Pearl is like a rock star name.
Carol Pearl.
Carol Pearl.
I mean,
the best name.
It is. It's the type of name you can never say Carol. You kind of want to say Carol Pearl.
Carol Pearl.
Yeah, you know Carol Pearl. Yeah, I know Carol Pearl.
Which Carol? Carol Pearl? Yeah, I like it.
Do you know people like that you never say just their first name? Like I used to work with a guy, Rich Lee. Everybody just called him Rich Lee. They always called him because they wanted both those syllables or something. Yeah. This is fascinating. You know, that's a brand study right there.
Yeah. Yeah, people do like a minimum of 2 syllables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have a cool name, Shanti Sparrow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool name.
Well,
One, it's usually people can spell it, just like with Carol Pearl. You know what spellability is like pretty important. And the fact that your name is so unique. So it's cool that you can build a brand off of something your parents gave you. Good on you. Good on you, parents. Ooh, that's looking so good when it's small too, by the way.
I know, yeah. It's gonna do some fun stuff from here. We're gonna move because hopefully we'll get this next step done because I think have we got about 30 minutes left or so?
You are keeping track of time better than I am. I was just getting involved. I was like,
you
nice.
get
today was fun. By the way, we get the full 2 hours. Tomorrow we'll be doing like a
little pit stop.
Yeah, a little spotlight thing. So
okay. Yeah. I'm excited for that actually. Okay, so I've just bought those things that I've colorized, and already you can tell we can't see the type anymore. It's become its own graphic. They're always going to be unique. The colors have made them happy and approachable, but the graphic elements have meaning. So this is where we're at. How do you use a very complex pattern on packaging is an interesting thing to look at. So research time. We have Haagen-Dazs and Nora's Mint Chip. So they've got a pattern here. So what are they doing so that they can use it? They make a half-half balance or a two-third balance where the bottom third or half is white so that they can put all of that information that needs to go on there. So that's just something I can register. Let's try that. Then, this is a straight line. Haagen-Dazs have left it to be a bit like cruisy. Yeah. So maybe we can see if we can use a raw edge. Down here, we've got pattern in the background and they've made a really fun label with a spoon. So it's telling me that my area that I put the information doesn't have to be in a strip, doesn't have to be in a square, but saying that. Then we look here and we've got a more square shape and it kind of looks like a tab. And that's a great way to get the pattern to work around. So if there is information that you need to get on there, it needs to be legible, but you can do it with a really loud, charismatic pattern. And then one more example. So this time they used a strong brown as their brand color there and made a little panel. So I have already 5 different things I can try with my pattern, and then I can do things, that mix things and try them all on my own.
Yeah, and it's good to keep these aware of these things because like you want to know your brand. You need to know what your brand will look like next to these other, pints.
Yes.
So is it gonna accidentally look like? So you got to do your research. Is it gonna accidentally look like another Nora's or something else or whatever? That would be a fail if you didn't do your research, I feel.
Yes, when you do something too close to the reference, you're not making yourself stand out. So okay, first. It's okay to emulate the things that you just saw. Don't ever finish on them, but get them out of your system. I feel like sometimes you just need to get it out of your system. I saw that. Okay, moving on. So we saw that bottom third being white. So this is what could be my tub. Then let's bring this over to the next one. We also saw that raw edge happen. Right? So we saw that raw edge and Haagen-Dazs. So maybe I could do this where it's like droopy and swirly and then all my information sits here. So that's another one done. Then let's duplicate this one again. Pop it over here. Maybe I don't use white because you can inverse information. Maybe I use blue, or maybe I use the color like, a neutral, change it up a little bit. Maybe we flip it. So let's make it so that my base is heavy with pattern. Try something more unique. And then on this one, maybe we do put blue. So it's very quickly just thinking about how you can arrange that pattern. You could even, let's say, do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. And as opposed to everything dripping down, I used the wrong tool just then. You can have it sort of be waves and an ocean sort of style.
Oh, nice.
Like that, right? So look at all of these things. Very quickly, we've got options on how we can work. Previously, I had described that I did like how white space or negative space really, really helps an elevator design. Because I've got so much goofy flavors and silly names, I do want to just balance that out a little. So let's maybe focus in on this one, where we've got brand color singing, and it's really strong. It's kind of like Ben and Jerry's. I like that. Okay. And now let's talk about containers and devices. So how can I get information on this? Yes, you could put some in the blue, but a lot of the weight information in ice cream needs to sit towards the bottom. So with this, I can't do it. So let's start with the obvious answer first, which M tool, let's put a white box, okay? And that's a starting position. I could then craft a whole bunch of beautiful things in there. And actually, maybe here is a bit of a good time to talk about prototyping. When you do this, print it off, build it at home. we're working in a digital world. And when I do this, I like to quick prototype. So I'm going to go into Photoshop and I'm going to open up a mockup.
Yeah, into the mockups.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
I think by memory it is this one. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. This is by a really, really great mockup company called House of Mockups. And I'm using this one specifically because it's free. So you guys can go and just download it yourself and do the same thing I'm doing. House of Mockups have really, really cool stuff. And specifically, they have an ice cream pack of mockups that I'm going to use tomorrow, which are stunning. How cool is this?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and it's got inside that a whole bunch of things. Okay. Ice cream branding. So this one is to purchase, and you can see all of these cool things that it comes with. But don't worry about that. Let's keep it on the cheap. Go to the freebie here, and you can just download it. So this
Boom.
So I'm going to use the same thing as you guys.
Nice.
Okay.
I kind of like that. That packaging is fun too.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, I think this was designed by Anthony Wood. He's a great designer. Yeah, I know all the names. So let's have a look about let's see how this would look. Even though we haven't got that far, when you put it on a piece of packaging. So I'm going to take away the lid, because I haven't made mine yet. And mockups work really simply. There's especially auto mockups, there'll be something prompting you to place your art there. So I'm going to place it in Smart Object. It's going to come in as a big rectangle, but I know that I'm only just doing the front side. Go okay. Oops. Sorry, I've got the preview of the video over my things. So we'll go Command Save. And then give it a second. And voila, we've got something going on. Now, sometimes you might find some warping is based on what was there previously. So it's really easy to just warp it the way that you need it. So do this. Oh, this guy is stretching out a little bit. There. So you can just warp them and make them work for what you're doing. So this one may have been prior warped for just the pattern. Okay, and
it's like the lid actually matches pretty well too. Just that
I
default.
know. Happy accident. Happy accident. Yeah. All right. So this is more matching up with what I had. And this is a great time to figure out whether, let's just do that one, move it across, whether, you want your lid to contrast or you want it to be similar. So we could have our lid be the blue, and that's kind of interesting. We could also choose it to be the orange. We could also choose it to be the pink. So there's lots of different ways, and really quick prototyping like this lets you know where you're going and helps it bring it to life. Okay, so quick prototyping.
Yeah, sorry. You need to go, but as you're working on these prototypes and these different designs, Art NASA, does it kind of come down to a hunch whether you feel like you've landed on the right approach?
Yeah, it's hard to describe that feeling, isn't it? There are always infinitely going to be things you can do, but you don't necessarily need to do them, right? So you could pick up any design and make changes, but should you? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you feel a feeling in your stomach when it's done?
Yeah. I do think so. I think you're like, ooh, I like this design. When you say you like this design, it's typically for a reason, because even what you've done here, it's like you have organic shapes, but then you stabilize it with these bars.
Yes.
So you can start to dissect it apart and say, oh, this is why I did what I did, and this is why I like it.
Yes.
So your hunches are correct. And then, like I usually say, I feel like art school just taught you why you inherently do some things that got you into art school in the first place.
Gave me a language. It gave me a language to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I could communicate why I'm doing something odd. I think so as well.
Good question too. Thank you, Arden. We have 20 minutes.
Okay.
15.
Yeah. No worries.
Sorry, 17 to be exact.
Oh my gosh, you just keep taking time away from me. Yeah. What are we doing here?
You're like, come on, I'm making a whole brand. We're all getting hungry. And,
that's absolutely. Okay, so I'm doing a technique called scampering, where it's really quick thinking, what could this be? And you can bang them into the mock-ups as much as you want. Okay, so I just did the simple things. I know that I want to do something a bit different to what I'm seeing already in my examples that I've collected. So let's jump into that. So we'll just pop this here. I've run out of canvases because we've done so many. Let's change up the shape. I like when it takes up the first third, quite a lot of the first third, especially because you need it for the amount of information. So it can't be small and dainty. I do think that we need contrast, so I'm going to make it cream. And let's try and find our own shape. So I'm going to hit A, and we're going to make a bit of a capsule because it's something we haven't seen. And I don't know, this shape feels like it's a seal, like a sticker seal sometimes, and feels a bit special. It is also on trend right now, this kind of shape. So we're going to have a look at this. The other thing I really like is this blue side is, you've reached to ice cream because you're feeling not so blue, you're feeling a little blue. And then this side is the will feel better side with all the colors. So this also has like a little hidden message of turn that frown upside down, just to be really cheesy for you. So that's there. And I think that means that the device itself has a reason, and we always love reasons. Okay, yes. And then let's go again. Can I push this further? So because I've created this divide of my blue and my pink, I can then go along and maybe cut the shape in two, which allows me to explore different ways that I could add that color. So I need to make sure I'm still pushing that it's strawberry, but I need, because I'm using blue so heavily, I want to keep that there. So as soon as I did that, I can tell that I need to adjust my colors a bit because there's too much pink running into the pink tablet. So I can adjust them and refine them as much as I need. And the pink tablet then sort of helps itself. Cool. All right, so then we've got something a little bit like that. Let's head back in. Do a quick prototype. Oh, I think I need to put a background color in that white. We're going to get a bit of a gradient. Let me just head back. Let's do a color overlay. White. Done. There we go. Much better.
So Voodoo Val wants the top half a different color. Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what this looks like.
Darn it. Sometimes I'm like, remember that one brand, they did a spoon coming down? I'm like, dang it.
We need to do that. Yeah, well,
did it.
This thing isn't going to be the whole brand in itself. This is just the container. So we still need to make a logo and the label, which will be probably a tomorrow thing, but we'll get there. Yeah, so already seeing that I've got enough space to use it. I'm not copying. I've made my own mark on this. And once again, it's the turn that frown upside down. So we've got that idea coming through in lots of different ways. Awesome. And remember, like with overlays and things in mockups, if they're a bit strong, you can, lighten them up. You can make them more dramatic so it feels more realistic. There's often just like a way to change the background. So mine happened to be pink and was easy. But if you want to like get into that world really quickly, just change the background on it, and then you can see where you're going.
Yeah. I'm into it. I like the whole turn the frown upside down, because also once you finish the pint, maybe you feel a little bit different than when you started. I feel like you're bummed. You have a little bit of ice cream. Immediately your day picks up.
Yeah.
And then you finish the pint, and then you feel differently.
Are you feeling?
And then I just get rid of the evidence. It's like what ice cream, and there's chocolate all over my mouth, and like what ice cream? No, I didn't get ice cream.
So, I mean, that was also a question on the ideation thing. It's why do you reach for a pint of ice cream, which is significantly different to how do you feel when you finish a pint of ice cream?
Yeah. And you're right. You asked the right question.
Yeah, but you could definitely do a whole design on that. So, and I think there is a design on that maybe, but like the 7 deadly sins of gluttony, ego, all of that sort of stuff. You can go down that world and talk about, let us absolve your sins, all of that sort of stuff.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Just get all religious with your ice cream. No.
Well, I feel like Halo is kind of doing that, right? Yeah. Isn't the Halo meant to be saying you're an angel, you're not doing something naughty?
Ooh, we're noticing layers with that brand.
We need to talk to the person who made it. It's gotta be.
The branding of that is brilliant. Halo top. You're not bad for liking ice cream. That never occurred to. That's brilliant.
Can we get a lot of free ice cream? That would be cool.
I would say everybody's in a better mood when you're sharing ice cream with them. Go ahead. Yep. Try to share ice cream with your worst enemy. See if you guys, like see if you guys don't get along after having some ice cream together.
Yeah. I mean, we're sorry for all the people who are lactose intolerant, but there is ice cream for that.
Yeah. Ice cream will cure world. It'll solve world peace.
I think
ice cream can bring the end to wars. Just ice cream.
Is this the time where I admit that I actually don't eat a lot of ice cream?
But do you go through like phases? I go through phases.
Yeah. I think I'm a salty snack human. I love chips. I'll eat like a bag of Doritos.
Yeah, I am too.
Takis, all of that sort of stuff. But when it comes to sweets, at Christmas we'll go for it, but ice cream not so much.
That's all. Well, supposedly they can kind of pinpoint that down to like your DNA. So if you ever do this segment's sponsored by 23andMe, which I happen to have right in front of me for some odd reason.
Stop it! Really?
Yeah.
Are you doing it?
This is sponsored by 23andMe. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to do it. So this is an updated one, but so I've already done it before. I did it like years ago, and I was trying to see if it'll peg you as whether somebody who likes sweet or salty.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's what it gives you. So
okay.
I don't know.
Well,
they go into a lengthy discussion about why, but
it's going to be some strange genetic thing, isn't it? That's cool. Oh, well, that's really fun. You're doing lots of fun things, and you were doing the crypto art as well, looking into that.
Yeah, I'm doing all sorts of crazy things. Yeah, so that's fun. That's also a fun area. Wellness. So anyways.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating. But it appeals to different people different times. And that's honestly like why you have you might have like a pretzel ice cream or something, or a salted caramel. Like,
but that's
kind of want sweet and salty, maybe.
Yeah, I will almost always go for pretzel caramel. That is what I will pick up. Oatmeal cookie, I think I get it because there's something salty in the oatmeal.
Okay.
Oh my God. So it's not my fault with what I eat, it's my genetics. Is this what you're giving me?
That's what it's trying to tell me. I want to dig it up and find out for sure. But it should sort of resonate with you if you ever do any one of these DNA tests.
Let's go. So I'm sort of doing this on autopilot. Apologies. What I'm doing is that, like, I found a space that I felt pretty okay in. I was enjoying how it looks. I felt like it was ownable to me and made sense for my concept. But once you build something, you've always got to check that it works again, and you need to check it works in a range. So if I have mint choc chip, will it work in green? Will it work in pink? Will it work? So there will obviously be some brown flavor. So whiskey or chocolate or fudge, there's always going to be something like that. So so always reiterating so that you can just check that your palette works across the range.
Yeah. It's like you knew ahead of time. You're like, okay, I'm gonna have to mix up one of these colors because it's working for those.
Yeah. What's one of the flavors? I think we had mango. So let's find a interesting, because I've got an orange as my brand color. How do you then bring across mango? So let's get in here. So we need it to be richer and complex like the other ones. I also think mango's a little bit yellower. That's
good question. And this might be one of the approaches, like, so you have your dominant blue color, and I don't know. You kind of just, do you ever use, and we don't have a lot of time, but like, do you use edit colors or recolor artwork or any of that?
If I'm really stuck, if I can't figure out a reason I would prefer to intentionally pick than to do recolor and hit the random. But yeah, if you're stuck or, just trying to get the juices flowing, I think that's a good thing to do.
And that's good advice, because you're going to try anything. Like and that's just great advice. Something's not working, try something crazy, like recolor artwork.
Get yourself out of that circle.
Yeah. And just like go outside. Like, that's some of the best design advice I've ever had. Go to bed. That's good. Just go to bed. You've been freaking working on that till midnight. Go to bed. You're going to feel fine in the morning. You're going to see exactly what the issue is.
Yeah. In class, when students refuse to go for breaks because they're so into something, and we're like, no, you actually have to get up and leave. We're going to shut down your computers and control them. You need to leave. We also make them dance. Like, that's fun. We'll have a 5-minute dance party, some yoga, like anything you can do to just change the energy in the room so that when you sit back down, you're like, okay, like things have changed a bit.
Yeah. And it's fun when the students are excited about their design or working on something. That's a good feeling. Like,
oh, I love it. I love it. But then, they're looking a little tired. I'm like, you need to nap.
Yeah. Oh, kids. Oh, to have that energy.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that happens to creatives a lot.
It does.
Yeah, because you get.
Yep. Yeah. I'm sorry, but like at least where I'm at, you have to take advantage of the inspiration. Like, when the inspiration strikes, you're like, oh yeah, tonight's a night I'm going to be up till midnight. Like, I think you learned how to ride those waves and kind of milk the inspiration when it hits, because it might not be there. So it's good to like strike while the iron's hot. You might be up late, go do it. I don't know. That's
my best advice for that, because I do that all the time too. I think that's a good thing to do. But my advice for that is, if it's a client work or whatever, or you're about to publish it, never publish it or send it at the end of that creative spell. Go to sleep, wake up, and then look at it again.
Yeah. Oh, darn it. We were on such a good subject. I want to talk about this more.
Yeah.
Such good
Running
advice.
out
Like,
of time.
seriously, just go put it to bed. You'll think about it differently in the morning and you'll catch those issues that you don't see currently.
And half the time you wake up and you're like, this was rad.
Awesome. Well, Shanti Sparrow, you are awesome. You're still working away.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we have you tomorrow because this has been really fun. I think everybody's giving you prizes in chat and everything, and also naming delicious ice creams. And now everybody's like really hungry. But don't go anywhere because we do have XD Daily Creative Challenge coming up next. So, Shanti, you are the best.
Oh,
Thank you so much
me.
for this. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Again, another amazing, XD designer, XD Daily Creative Challenge coming up. That's what you have. I'm trying to nail it down to the second. But anyway, Shanti, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll see you guys online. Thanks, everyone.